how to be patient with your marketing team or marketing efforts? How do you suggest founders should look at it?
So this was the topic of discussion with one of my mentees last week, and she's apparently joining a new company as a marketing lead, and she asked me the exact same question as to how to address this from her standpoint. From a founder standpoint, it's really important for them to understand the difference between long term and short term goals, right? What usually happens is that see, it's not a founder's fault as such. They have their own goals, but the way they translate it into different types of activities, let's say sales, product marketing, might not be the right way of doing it in many cases. What usually you see that in the startup ecosystem, a lot of founders are, they're either very tech oriented. Some of them come from maybe sales, but you really don't have a marketer who sits at the top of a startup, right? Or you hardly see founders who understand marketing. So it's mostly because of their background. But what is really required is for founders and CEOs of startups to understand the difference between short-term and long-term objectives. What is that they can see work in the short term? What is it that they can see work in the long term, right? If if you are expecting your blog post to rank on the first top three results of Google SERP over the first 2 3 days, that is definitely not going to happen unless you create a buzz like what ChatGPT did, right? So you got to understand that SEO takes time. Similarly, you got to understand that video takes time, social media marketing takes time, right? And whatever measurement mechanisms you have, you got to be patient with it. But obviously, as a founder, as a CEO, you cannot just sit there saying that, oh yeah, these things are going to take time, so let me just wait for things to turn around, right? So that can't be the case. So how do you address this particular problem? So you want your marketing lead to be thinking about some short term and quick wins as well, right? And they are not easy to achieve, but there are definitely ways in which you can make those work, right? For example, you can email marketing is something that you can actually start very immediately, right? You can start a few outbound campaigns. It's as simple as downloading data from a B2B database, creating content, uploading it on a tool, and sending email campaigns. I mean, it's not as simple as this. This is not the right way of doing it, but I'm saying you can create some awareness very quickly and maybe get one or two quick wins using something like LinkedIn email marketing. Another example is LinkedIn outreach. Sales Navigator is a tool that everyone uses. You can, though it might not be very successful if you implement these channels, these tactics in isolation. These things. These are the only places where you can go to if you want to show some quick results. Another thing is cold call, right? Cold calling, again, it has pros and cons to it, but the way I would make these short term approaches or tactics work is not by implementing them in isolation. So I spoke about email marketing, I spoke about LinkedIn outreach, I spoke about cold call. What if you can use all of this in combination, right? What I mean by that is, let's say you create a very narrow targeted list of accounts that you want to go after. Let's say whatever 200, 250. You come up with only 3 or 4 uh, relevant buyers or decision makers in those companies, and you run very personalized email marketing campaigns to them, and you combine this with LinkedIn outreach and cold calling. Let's take a very specific example, right? When I Let's say if I'm starting with an email campaign, my first email would go out as a highly personalized email. Not those personalized emails like hi first name, I'm from company name, not that kind of personalization. I'm talking about real personalization where you do research about the prospect, and you're going to do this only for 700,000 people, not like 5,000 people. So you can build this over time. So you send that first personalized email, and then you can later add them into a cadence of common emails. You combine this with your LinkedIn outreach. When you reach out to a person on LinkedIn, you say, hey, I had sent you an email regarding this, would like to connect and discuss further. If you don't get a response there, you graduate yourself into a cold call wherein you call the person. If you're not able to directly reach out to the person, or if you're being blocked by a borderline, you can always say that I had emailed Mr. John, and now I would like to talk to him and discuss this further. And most of the times you get through it, right? So essentially the point is that you combine these techniques instead of using them in isolation and try to make them work. And there are a few other short term wins as well that you can look at. For example, Google ads. It's not that expensive to run Google ads. You need to have obviously the supporting content, the supporting assets. It could be in the form of a landing page, or whether it can be in the form of videos. your customer success stories, testimonials, whatever they are. You got to have these supporting assets. Given you have this, you can think about running something like Google Ads, right? So that's effective in the short term. So look at long term. Look at what you can do in the long term. Look at what you can do in the short term. Understand the difference of how these work and prioritize your marketing activities based on this, right? And that's what you should expect your a founder should expect a marketing person to do, and that's how the marketing person should also think, so that they are able to show some results in the short term, while they continue to consistently focus on things that will give them results only over the long term.